Stan, here we are in the man cave. So, what have I been up to? Well, I was absent last week, no content, because not that you need to know my physical health, but I'm one of those people that regular viewers might know. 3 times a year I get a virus, a bug, a flu, and it completely wiped me out. In fact, I'd say I'm still not over it yet, but I have risen off my deathbed. He coughs dramatically. What sub £50 pile of military surplus junk have I been buying this week to show to my friends, colleagues in the collecting world? Hidden by the NVA towel, big reveal. There you go. So what does Stan like more than steel helmets and binoculars, or nearly as much? Field telephones. This is the Swedish M37 field telephone. It came, I'll tell you how much it cost me straight away. It cost me 30 quid. I'd watched it on eBay and no one was bidding, and I thought, I'll let it slide. I'm spending too much money on rubbish. My wife was telling me, and you never know whether these things work or not. I mean, he said it was untested. They always say that. I mean, no, that's not true. 100%. Some people do sell them working, but if they're untested, you're taking a chance. And it came back up again realist. I thought, I've got to have that. I haven't seen many of them. I've just been online there and looked. There's a guy somewhere in Britain, UK, selling like loads and loads of them. They look like they've got different markings on. They are Swedish, but I don't know whether they've been maybe Norwegian civil defence or civil defence for Sweden. And so there's good news and bad news with this one. It did come with its leather strap, which is there, which is quite a nice sturdy item, but it's just a bit awkward getting the lid on and off with it. What I am going to do is probably put it in the corner with Eric, the Swedish setup. So we'll have a little look around it. And I say M37, so developed before the Second World War and used right up, issued, or I think they were made right until the 1960s. I've seen some online where the people have took them apart and inside there's a date stamp. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I think there's an outside chance this could be World War II, only because when I took it apart to clean it, the interior, the electricals, did look like they were aged, and also the only stamps on there were 40 and I think 43. So the guy sold it as post-war, but there's no other marks on it at all, so you know, whatever. So on the top you have got, it is very reminiscent of the German FF33 field telephone. You've got the King's Crown of Sweden, the 3 crowns, and Ericsson, coming up all right on there. Ericsson. And you have got the phonetic alphabet for Sweden, which is Adam, Bertil, Caesar, David, Erik, Philip, Gustav, Harold, Ivor, Johann, Kult, Ludwig, Martin, Nicholas, Olaf, Peter, Quintus, Rudolf, Sigund, Thor, Urban, Victor, Wilhelm, Erxius, I don't know what that one is, Zota, Eka, Erlig, Usten, Ubel. And then you've got obviously Swedish for 1 to 10, which is, I'll try and read it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. So it's got ring AV on there. It does have this little button on the top, which is for a ring. I'm not sure how buzzers work on field telephones. I know I've got a field telephone system set up. I don't seem to be able to get this buzzer thing going, but if you press that, trust me, there's a button underneath there. So that is to, while you're in inclement weather, you can still signal you want somebody. On this side, it says, focus, Fienden Lyssnar. That means the enemy are listening. So there you go. And that is a little pad on the top there. Anyone who's seen the FF33, the German World War II type, very similar looking, bakelite case. There's a couple of green marks on the side there. This is where the crank handle goes, little doorway. And people always say, you know, German stuff, great. Now I've got quite a bit of Swedish stuff going on now, and binoculars, this sort of thing, very, very well made. So we'll try and open it up. It is very stiff, this, so I'm going to have to... Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll pause you. Pausing. Ow, hurts your fingers that. You wouldn't want to get that off in a hurry. So there's the lid. Inside there's a wiring diagram, and that is the button that was pressing there on the top. So I'll take the handset out. Nice piece of gear. King's crowns on again, the Swedish crowns. A bit of damage on that, don't know. It looks complete, very solid. You've got your jack point. It only goes in one way, so you can't get it the wrong way around. Put that one side. Quite a nice little item. Or in addition is this earpiece. So this goes into it as well. Leather. All I've done with the leather is give it a quick clean down. See there, I think it has Ericsson written on it somewhere. All stamped up. That sits on your head so you can monitor the phone call while someone else is talking. On the top, you have your two terminals. Now this little item, so your buzzer, this little item here, I'm not actually sure. It's local battery and common battery or something along them lines. You see that there? So this, what you've got to do is pull this little bracket there, and you can change it over. I'm not quite sure what that is. I've watched a YouTube video chap doing it, but not quite sure what that is. Comes with, again, the Swedish, very inventive little screwdriver for all your needs. To take it apart, it's one either side screw, one at the end. Crank handle lives in here, so out you come. It's not going to come out. Right, so put it in the crank thing, crank mechanism. We try and put it in the crank mechanism. Clumsy. There we go. We're in the room. So hear it cranking there. Actually, quite amusing. Well, not really amusing. I was piddling around with it earlier on, and I'd wired it up to my German FF33. And in the loft, my wife came. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just making sure the generator works on this one." And I took the wires off this and had them in my hand, and my wife started cranking on the other end. I heard her cranking it, so I dropped the wires straight away, because you would get a nasty electric shock off them. The battery compartment is in here. All these little things all screwed together. Very, very nice. I mean, my field telephone system mainly is British World War II, just after World War, and they're a bit tatty and natty, and I didn't pay a lot for them, but the work. All this stuff is really well made, but there is a bit of bad news. Oops, hang on. I'll have to get in here, get it out. So this has a little carry case, and it says there, place cells in figure. Now that, if you look, there's paint's worn off it, but that's the end of a battery. It goes all the way up, so it's just worn off. I had to clean that. The inside, see the inside, it was full of verdigris. I cleaned it all up to try and get it working. What else was there? Yeah, so sorry for me sniffing. These field telephones, in my experience, I have 7 now, and I have got a system set up, and I'm probably at a stage where I could get a switchboard. My wife is obviously all over that. She really can't wait for me to get a. I'm only joking, you know, that like she just told me to bugger off, basically, not getting it. But I could have my sheds connected to different parts of my house through a switchboard system, and it is possible. I've seen people doing it on YouTube. Now, the problem with these old field telephones, again, in my experience, electrical stuff is a bit of a black art to me. I don't mind like wiring up surround sounds and sorting out display lights, but when it comes to things where they're using a voltmeter, I've got access to a voltmeter, my uncle's got one, I just don't know how to work it. I'm going to have to learn, because these field telephones, all the 7 I've got, some work, some only half work. The generator, the crank if you like, they're, for those who don't know, probably someone out there going, you know what you're talking about, but like an old dynamo on a bike, it's a very simple mechanism. It's the crank, I think, is it magnets, they create resistance that gives you electricity. Very rarely go wrong. They always seem to be able to ring each other. The problem is when you come to trying to get it to talk. They're completely dead. It's completely dead. Now, I'm looking at the handset. There's no cracks in it, no breaks. Wires aren't frayed like a lot of them are. I don't think it's the handset. When I took it apart, like the verdigris was all in the bottom of the battery case, and it's got onto the insides were really cobwebby, and there was a bit of this verdigris splash, like look, and water, a bit of water ingress maybe, and I sprayed a couple of bits of WD-40 hither and thither on the bells, and they all work. So it rings, and it rings itself, and other phones ring it, and it rings other phones, if you get me. But the electrics inside. Now, how complicated can these things be? I do have, or know of, a bloke who services these items in Wales, and he's done some work for me already. But you know, if you're paying 30 quid for this, and I just looked online, there's some of them are being sold for like 40, 50 pounds, and they're advertised as working. So I don't want to send this in the post, which is going to cost me 10 quid probably because of the weight. 10 quid there, 10 quid back, and then the bloke to spend 50 quid on it. It's just not, it's not economically viable, and I'll get more satisfaction out of fixing it myself. But it's whether I can do that or not. I'll have to. It can't be that hard, can it? It's got to be simple. I have to learn how to use a voltmeter. So we'll just plug the old recruitments in. We'll have a little look at them. So that's that there. That goes in, and that goes in, and that goes on your head. And this one goes in there like that. So I say it's the case is complete. It is very. It looks almost brand new. So there's only that bit of damage there. Something's happened. I mean, people are saying tap the speakers and see if you can get it to work, because the carbon apparently. But hopefully I'll be able to get it to work. If I can't, it's a nice display piece that will go on my Swedish World War II setup. I've already got a place for it, and I've already ordered, well, my wife's been out, so I'll be in trouble when she comes home, an old GPO telephone bell. So that'll, the worst case scenario is I'll have it on display and I'll be able to crank it and ring the bell, which will just be underneath. So not bad for 30 quid. And yeah, so that's it really. That is my M37 Swedish field telephone by Ericsson. Possibly World War II, but definitely a World War II type. So that's me talking again for 12.5 minutes. Utter rubbish as always. So this is Stan. Oh, by the way, if anybody has any tips on how to work a voltmeter, amp meter, whatever you call them, feel free to tell me. If it, you know, I don't mind any advice or information. How hard could it be? See if I can get it up and running. So that's 13 minutes of me talking crap. So this is Stan, and I'll see you